Okay, so let's see if this works. Hi guys, we're just trying to set up this situation so we can get both Maria and Gabe online. So I'm gonna give it a shot now and see if it works this way. Okay, so we have. Oh, I
We
did
did it!
it! Go team! Okay, good. We were able to figure it out. Wow, for a second, I was really convinced that it wasn't gonna happen. If I'm being fully honest. But
Wizard.
hello
You're
to
a
everyone
wizard.
that's joining
Hello,
live.
all.
Uh, we're gonna be
Lol.
discussing curating and mainly asking Gabe some questions about Ipsi's literis. But thank you guys all for taking the time to join our live. And, feel free to ask any questions below. There's a little question button, and we can go over them at the end. I'll go ahead and check that out once we've gone through everything that we want to go through. So how are you guys today? I mean, I've already spoken to the both of you extensively.
Extensively. We speak to each other quite a lot
Yeah.
all day, every day.
So far, good day. It's sunny. Everything's nice. Everything's going according as planned.
I like
It's
hearing
nice in
that.
New Orleans too. I'm like hiding out in a classroom on campus because I didn't have time to get back to my house. So hopefully no one walks in and realizes I don't have a mask on.
I don't know that it's sunny here in gorgeous Alapata, but it's definitely nice out.
Definitely. So do we want to get started with some of the questions that you
Yes.
prepared, Maria?
Yes. So I was thinking that we could just start by talking a little bit, like briefly about our backgrounds and how we ended up here.
Okay, cool.
Not on Instagram with each other, but like how we ended up at this point with the camp.
Sure. Gabe, do you want to go first since you've been with the camp the longest?
Yeah, sure. Kind of ending up at the camp, I started as an intern, working for the original gallery, and then kind of just moved my way up. I've been here now for like 3 years. Yeah, we're nearing that.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting journey seeing us like grow so much because like formerly I'm from around the country, all over the place, and I've studied every aspect of art at least a little bit. Jack of all trades, master of none. So
That's not true. You're master of some.
You're a master of some for sure. Some.
Some.
Don't
Oh
sell
wow.
yourself short.
But yeah, it's just been an interesting journey. Just really seeing the gallery expand so much. It's such a monumental difference from when I started.
Maria, you want to go next?
Yeah. So I have a background in anthropology, which is just basically like studying humans in every which way one could imagine. And I graduated. I couldn't find a job, so I came back home to Miami, and I took a chance on an internship as well. And now I'm here. And I think my background allows me to look at the human element of the art that we get a chance to work with in a way that's really refreshing. It's not just like an object to me,
Yeah.
but it's like a tool for communication. So that's a little bit about me.
Cool. So I guess it's my turn.
Mario, would you like to answer this question?
Sure. So I have been, of the three of us with the camp for the least amount of time. I started working for the camp in August. I'm a senior at Tulane University. I'm from Miami originally, studying management consulting and history. I first interviewed with the camp actually the summer of my sophomore year. but due to some other circumstances, wasn't able to really work for the camp throughout the summer. And then, you know, we kind of went back to just doing, I went abroad and lived in Paris and then came back during the pandemic and was like, oh, wow, this is rough. And then, at a point in time where I was at a kind of a crossroads about what I was going to do in terms of work, Melanie called me and offered me a job, which was really like one of the biggest blessings, I think, to come out of the pandemic for me, because I don't think it would have been available to me had not been happening. And not to say that I'm grateful for the
He's
pandemic
not grateful.
and everything that's happened. No, I'm very grateful for the camp, but not to say that I'm grateful for the pandemic and all the people I've gotten sick and whatnot, but I'm grateful for that element of it.
The opportunity.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Melanie.
Big shout out to Melanie, who brought us all together.
She's watching. She's always watching.
Yeah. Of course she is. She commented, wow, 3 years.
3 years.
About Gabe. Long time.
It's not, I've been working here now, I think about 2 years. And it really doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
How
droll.
How droll.
How droll.
Very casually just dropped. I lived in Paris.
He did. It's his True Hollywood Story moment. So, I'm guessing that both of you, like me, didn't expect to be in this position, especially not so young, and not so, I guess, early on in a career. Before, and by this position, I mean like having the opportunity to work closely with artists, to manage gallery stuff, to manage exhibitions, and to curate on top of it all. So I know that before I ever got to curate, I thought that it was not hard. Like, I thought it was just like following aesthetics. So I want to know what y'all's perception of curation was before you got close to it.
Ooh. Gabe, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, curation kind of was initially brought up to me I studied in Minnesota for several years, mostly graphic design and different mediums there. One of my professors, and I really wish I could recall her name, she was only my intro to just visual culture professor, and I had her for barely like 3 months, as she kind of like swapped out early. She was the curator for one of the galleries in downtown Minneapolis. And it wasn't until she started kind of explaining the process, what she went through, because we all just took a trip just to see her most recent exhibition. And she started talking about kind of her ideologies about each piece, how they kind of connected together. And it just, like, I became entranced. Yes, I studied in Minnesota, Melanie. And that kind of got me completely hooked. Because I'd always really loved just talking about art, and I loved obviously creating, but it wasn't until I kind of got introduced to that I realized I loved talking and learning about other people's art almost more so than making my own, and being able to kind of expand on that, give that like knowledge and those theories and this like just visual relation, not always visual, to other people. I always found way more like connection to that more than anything. And I think the curator position suits me a little bit better than even giving myself the tag artist.
Ooh. Gabe. So deep.
That's how I always thought about it. It's a strange transition that I went from so much making my own art to then when I started with the gallery, I still made my own art, but I started seeing so much more, and I wasn't really given that opportunity before.
Curation really is like a communicative thing. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, and I think it's also good to have a background as an artist in order, because that experience informs you in a way that makes you, I think, a better curator, even if you wouldn't call yourself a artist necessarily. Honestly, curating was never on my radar. I didn't think it was ever going to be something I was going to do. I just didn't. Like, I didn't. I thought even if I was going to work in the art world, it would be in like a business capacity or something like not very creative. Not that I don't think of myself as a creative person, but I just didn't seem like something that was ever going to work out for me. And then, you know, I'd been working for the camp for about like a month or two, and Melanie said, "Oh, you know, we're going to have you curate the show in November." I was like, "Me? You talking to me?" But I've been surprised at the degree to which it's, I don't know, it's not, in my experience, it hasn't been as hard as I thought it would be. The first time around, I was really nervous, and I think I was having a really hard time finding synergies between artworks, which is a struggle because it's very important to have to have kind of the exhibition speak as a whole.
Yeah.
But in my more recent experiences, I think like it's about really looking at the art and just expressing based on like the whole of what you see, what you want to say from that, how you want to build on what's already being discussed, and how you
Yeah.
want to like bring all these pieces together to say something more, to add something to the conversation from what each individual piece is expressing.
Yeah. I've heard that curation, or I've heard said of curation that it's like each piece is a word or a fragment, and the exhibition as a whole is like a sentence. So you're
Totally.
just
Yeah.
trying to like find a flow,
Exactly.
visually at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I totally agree. And like the more I curate, the more I feel like excited to get more experimental with curation.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
It that's definitely now that you know the rules, now you can know how to break the rules.
Yeah.
exactly.
Or at least
Yeah.
how the rules can
Be bent.
shift.
Bench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or be bent. Just how the rules don't have to be in a certain order either, I think is really important when it comes to curation. So that said, what is your process when you're
Well, no,
curating?
Maria, I want to hear your answer to that question.
Of what? Which question before
The
I
first
curate?
one. Yeah.
Well, before I ever curated officially, I think I engaged with curation in my personal life. Um, like just the visual flow to everything. I'm a person who requires a lot of visual stimuli. I get bored really easily, even though my walls are white, but like everything has to have a certain order that is like aesthetically pleasing to me. Um, but like in an I guess art world context, I've learned that curation is more than things looking beautiful, or is more than things, being neat, or things looking a certain way. It's really about like the communicative potential of all of the pieces in an exhibition, or all of the components of an installation to really make like an emotional and intellectual impact on someone. So it can look beautiful, but it more often than not says something much more beautiful than the way it looks. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes sense
Yeah.
to me. Okay, so let's move on to, sorry for interrupting you, but I just wanted to hear your point of view.
Interject.
um no, yeah, so I'm interested in hearing about y'all's like general process when it comes to there's like a flow to like creating an exhibition, and curation I think is um arguably the most fun part of it, because you're really just like looking at someone's plural pieces, and you're like trying to, I guess, put the puzzle together. um but that in and of itself is kind of fun because you're finding little threads or little links between pieces. But what is your process in general? And I want to know actually how that relates to both of your current exhibitions. So Gabe's the curator for Ipsis Litteris, which is currently in the gallery, and Mario's the curator for Alice Ducruz, Master of Portraiture, which is an online exhibition. Plug.
Visit it. Go see it on thecampgallery.com.
Link in bio. I'm not
Link in
Link in
bio.
I can go first on this one, I think, if you don't mind, Gabe. So
Yeah,
my
Interruption.
process, it kind of depends on the exhibition. If it's a group show, then I kind of have a little more freedom of like who's going to be included and who's not going to be included and what pieces from who get put. But if lately I've been doing a lot of solo shows, and in the case of solo shows, I think my first step is always to look at like the entire body of work of an artist and see what they're trying to say as an artist in general. And then from there, see if I can find anything. If I when I look at certain pieces, sometimes just things come to my mind as I'm looking at them. I like, oh, this reminds me of this. This reminds me of something else, whatever. And if something comes to mind multiple times, then that's when I start to form like an idea about what I'm going to curate. So for an example, I kind of struggled with this a little bit with the Alice Ducruz show, because she's a conceptual artist, so she does so much of her own curating in a series, like because she's very conceptual and she grounds herself in a theme and specific visuals. And so the challenge there was trying to find a thread across those various series to say something different. And so in that example, I just kept like, the word portraiture kept like showing up, like, this is such a beautiful portrait. This is so, even in cases where she wasn't actually like portraying someone. Like you'll see in the series, there are certain pieces that like are not necessarily portraits in the classical sense.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I wanted to explore that a little further, and that's how I got to the point where I chose those images and I curated that show. Like another example, like with Thomas Donaldson, the show that I did in January, that was a lot easier because like so many of the images just very clearly, and from my point of view, look like dancing, like people dancing, and people dancing naked. And so I was like, okay, what in literature have I read that's about like dancing naked and the idea of like being behind a closed door and like jamming out to yourself or whatever, and like doing stuff that you wouldn't do in public necessarily, not in a weird way, but just like, you know, everyone has like things that they do behind closed doors and like that they would be embarrassed to admit, and like I wanted to explore that concept from the point of view of his work. And so that's where that idea came out of, and then I kind of just like build off of that. And then I have Maria and Gabe and Melanie all look at my statement to make sure that I didn't spell anything wrong.
And then the editing process comes through.
The editing process is really important. And personally speaking, it's really fun. Yeah, I think another important thing that both of you may agree with is like talking about, or rather how talking is vital to the curation process. Like there's always somebody, or not somebody, but there's like a desire to get feedback from people as you're working on it. You're working on it. And so you kind of, not only do you get the opportunity to get your hot takes out there, let's say, but while you're working on a show, you inevitably create like larger conversations to be had. At least with your coworkers, like I do. For
sure. I mean, even with the current exhibition, I guess I can kind of like segue very well into my process.
Beautiful segue.
With Ipsis Litteris, it was kind of, it was an exploration kind of based not only initially on the knowledge I already had beforehand of Sylvana's work, but I like focused on just one detail of it. And for me, I think that's the best way. I want to be able to tell a story through kind of its own theme. That's a lot of what I always do. I always wanted to be a storyteller, animator, character designer, whatever. I want to be able to tell a story through, more like takeover. I wanted to be able to tell a story through what I'm creating. And like her dedication to language, and kind of the thoughts and ideas behind so many different languages, sharing so many different idioms, metaphors, just sayings in general. I thought it'd be so interesting to just focus solely on what does language mean when represented in a visual way. And what it so much means is, what if we take that away? And that's kind of, I focus so much on one thing until I eventually kind of grind out the rest and leave just the one idea left. And speaking about that is kind of like what I focus so much on. With Sylvana's exhibition, what she was already saying, I just wanted to be able to add on top of that, and not so much kind of change it, but focus it into what I kind of think is an interesting direction. Not the one that she wanted to say. Yeah, as kind of someone asked, as a prop to the story. I don't want to put a prop for Sylvana's, because God, like her work far exceeds like my thought to the story. But I wanted to be able to, steer the story in a direction that I think tells a different message, kind of parallel to what Sylvana's trying to say already.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a big misconception of curation in general is that you're like you're the one creating it, when in reality you're creating something parallel to it. That was really well put. It's like a pairing of narratives to create something bigger.
All of these artists have their own stories to their pieces, all their own ideas, and we're given the opportunity as curators to not like just try and overwrite those. We don't want to like ever trample over what the artist has already strived so hard to create.
Totally.
We can tell a different story. We can expand on that story. We can tell a side story.
You can even just uplift it.
Yeah. So you can like dramatically, I guess, energy of the of what's trying to be said. So it's a different contrast to what's already. And as something was asked, this piece is actually a paper piece behind me. Yeah, I went for the other one. These are some of Sylvana's paper pieces. She has some canvas works also in the show, but the one behind me, the one behind me is a collage piece on paper. So.
So this is something that I love asking in general, just because of my own, I guess, vain interest. Do you have a favorite memory from like the process of getting this or putting these exhibitions together? Such a good question.
This is for mine. I'll switch back to ipsis literis again as my other exhibition, Obscured Objects. I adored that, and that was an online only exhibition. But Sylvana is here now, so I get to talk about it.
Hi, Sylvana.
Hi, Sylvana.
So with this one in particular, my favorite memory of it, and this sounds equally as bad as it does to me good, was finally seeing it up on the wall, finished.
Oh.
Because the process of writing everything, of writing the statement, seeing all the works together, arranging them, uh, it wasn't until I think it wasn't the moment until I finished a time lapse of me setting up the salon style wall, and I actually watched back the time lapse after it was all hung up, and I was like, oh wow, I really actually
Oh
do like
wow.
this. Uh, it took me looking back at it through a video after I'd already like put it up on the wall. I was like, I actually like how I did this, and
It's very beautiful.
and I tend to
That's
be
awesome.
more pessimistic about my view on how I arranged everything, as kind of all artists do, not only I. Um, so
No, I loved it. And I mean, I don't know if you're able to, but if you could show them like the salon style wall that you have set up, I love that
Yeah.
wall.
here we go.
It's so nice.
This nice tripod is going to serve its purpose.
It's just, it's great. It's very
Yeah.
bold.
It
Um,
makes the wall look a lot longer than it is. I think it
yeah.
adds like dynamism because it is paper pieces on like a big white wall, but
Yeah.
it
And I
like
think it
makes everything come alive.
totally, and I think it shows thought into how it's going to look all together on the wall
Mm-hmm.
because it shows that you really considered like, okay, I have many of these collages. They're all the same dimensions. How do I do something to show the diversity and to show the like
Yeah.
movement? And that was like a great way to do so.
And to show the
So my
number.
compliments to you and show the work.
I love Silvana, but when she brought like 40 pieces, it scared me.
Isn't Sylvana in there?
Uh, not today. She'll be here. Here's transition and segue number two. She'll be here next Saturday with her daughter, who's
Link
going
in
to be
bio.
in bio that her
Link
daughter
in
has a band.
bio.
Her daughter has a band, and she'll be performing live here at the gallery.
That is
Still
awesome.
blue. It's called Still
Still,
Blue.
still blue. DM us for RSVP.
So I don't know how I'm going to follow up on Gabe's answer because I felt like Gabe's answer was much better than mine is going to be. But and also, for those of you who are doing now, come tomorrow, live music at the camp. In short.
Not tomorrow. Next week.
Oh,
Next Saturday.
next
Next
week, excuse
Saturday.
me, next
Next
Saturday
Saturday.
at the camp. Um, my my best memory from curating the show was actually kind of a happy accident. Um, so when we first signed with Alice, she sent us a variety of different series. Um, obviously from like 2017, I'd say up until now.
Mm.
And there was one series in which she used the same model who she mentioned in my IG interview with her. I didn't know this until like just last week. Is a friend of hers in the Netherlands who has really long black dreads. And she happened to use him for only one photo in an earlier series. So she used him for the entire series in Spiritual Dancers of Burkina Faso and used him for one photo in the Black and White project. And I don't know how, if it was like a clerical error or something, but someone put the image of her friend in Black and White project in the folder for Spiritual Dancers of Burkina Faso. And I was like, at first it made sense to me because it's the same model, but then I was like, gee, how cool is it that it's the same person photographed in a similar position and a totally different theme, totally different imagery, and the second you get the Black and White project's image and put it with all the other ones in the same series, like it fits in so much better. Like before, when I would look at it, I was like, something about that one piece is just like not, something's not right there. So I wound up using the two images that it was next to along with the Black and White piece because I was like, these like work so well together, but then also tell a story of someone that's able to make very similar things tell very different stories.
Yeah.
By the same token.
Yeah.
And I just liked it because I was like, oh my God, this almost happened by accident. And now it's like, it works so well. Um,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about gallery work in general is that you are like exposed to happy accidents quite
All the
mhm.
time.
often. You learn how to
All the time.
embrace um the or rather how quickly things can change from literally 1 second to the next.
Totally.
You always have to be ready to take it on. Wow, beautiful answers, y'all. I really like both of your exhibitions.
And Maria,
And Maria.
what's your
So
favorite memory, Maria?
my favorite memory of their
Maybe
exhibition.
Violeta's show? Come on.
What? So yeah, I am currently working on our next solo online exhibition with works from Violeta Calderes, who's a textile artist from the Canary Islands. And
Awesome work.
yeah, my favorite memory from the curatorial process this time around, I'd already seen her work, like the one that was the pieces that were going to be in this exhibition, just because she would post videos of herself working on them. But my favorite memory is actually like exchanging voice audios with her. We're separated by a 6-hour time difference, so it would be like my afternoon, her evening, or my evening, her morning, or not my evening, my very late evening, and her morning. And just like she's so far away, and we're like connected through space and time by those audios, just like gushing over the potential between us. I think that's my favorite memory. It tends to be my favorite memory from every exhibition that I work on. Just like the community that comes from working on projects such as these together.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love what you mentioned about like being able to connect through space and time because I'm currently working on this exhibition that's going to be in September with us, and one of the elements that I'm bringing up is like debates about artwork and where artwork lies and politics, whatever. And I don't want to give too much away and
He's an
talk about that.
intellectual.
But one of the things we talked about is the effects of internet on curation and connecting with artists and whatnot. And like, it's so cool how you're able, because of the fact that we have these online resources, and there are some drawbacks that come with things going online, of course,
Yeah.
like everything. But the fact that we have the opportunity to communicate on such a deep level with someone who's so far away and be able to show her work and lower the limits to what we can do because of technology. I think that was like a really cool addition to what you were saying.
Yeah. It's open access on the internet in a way that like you could literally, so in using Violeta's work as an example, you could literally just like look up artists who use henna in a non-traditional way. So Violeta uses henna, mendi, as material. So on like linen, she'll draw with henna. So anybody who is curious about henna as a material for artistic purposes, there they go. They could stumble upon the show, become like a lifelong fan of Violeta, be somebody who collects her work. I mean, it just, the internet really opens up possibilities. I think drawbacks there are a lot, but I think there are more positives to it.
Yeah, I think one of the words that was thrown around in our discussion yesterday was I don't want to take credit for this. I think it was Ana Camacho who mentioned this, but that it democratizes the whole process.
Oh yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think is really cool.
Oh my God. Beautiful segue moment. So
We're full
we're
of
all
them
very
today.
lucky to work in what our fearless overlord Melanie Propopoulos jokingly called a pseudo democracy.
Praise be unto her.
Praise be unto her. No, let's not say that. Let's not say that. Let's not say that. But no, we're really lucky to work in an environment where like our input and our visions and our idiosyncrasies are like valued. Again, we're all quite young. We're in our early to mid 20s. And we're being given a voice and like a baby platform. How do you, or rather, I should say, do you both think that like more galleries should be adopting this kind of model where they give their employees a bigger say in at least like the projects that go on, or give them the freedom to realize creative visions with guidance?
I have a lot to say about this one.
Well, we have 15 minutes left of this live.
So, Gabe, do you
So,
want to go first, or do you want? I can go.
I'll go. I'll go. So you get all the time. I think my answer is very easy and very obvious. Of course, that I do think for any company, be it gallery, be it not, giving the employees the opportunity to like openly express themselves, to take a bigger load onto themselves than would normally be distributed, and just seeing where that goes. With any company, there are risks and rewards to everything, and taking a risk for it to be able to pay off, and seeing that kind of return come back. It doesn't always have to be financial. It doesn't always have to be kind of with the amount of people who see it. But it's about saying a message that kind of won't always be seen. And taking that risk, taking that kind of exposure into a different mindset is really valuable. It's immensely valuable. Because if not, you go nowhere. Everything becomes stagnant.
that's true.
So being given that opportunity is immensely valuable, not only to us right now, not only I hope that Melanie sees it as valuable to her as well, but valuable to other people that see it and see that opportunity being available for them, or possibly available for them.
Before Mario pops off, I just like a quick follow-up. Do you model that we have at camp, do you think that
And
that
then
would
she
be...
froze.
Am I frozen?
You did for a second, but you're back.
Oh my God. Oh, it feels so good to be back. As a follow-up, do you think that this model is at all, like, do you think it could be sustainable in like the larger art industry TM? Do you think that the industry would look differently?
I mean, it would have to be.
It would have to. It would look different entirely to how it is currently, but I think I don't see it being possible, at least currently, with the larger art industry. I know.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
There are certain ways that are set already in place. There are certain ideologies set already in place, and breaking those comes upon the smaller galleries, the smaller art curators, everything, to break those initially so it can be open first. But as it is right now, doing what we already strive to do and replicating it at a huge scale, it's not realistic. But we strive to kind of break that down and get to that point.
Yeah.
Mario, the floor is yours.
Mario, pop off.
Go.
Pop off, wig.
Well, I just feel like what I was going to say is that I feel like in my past experiences working in the art world, which I wouldn't say were super extensive before I started working at the camp. And this is not to criticize anyone that I worked with or anything, just for better or for worse, my experience of the art world as a whole was as very like hierarchical and very like your worth is based on who you know and the who's who and the this person did that and whatnot. And I'm not saying that that's not a reality that you have to navigate no matter what. It's just, it is what it is.
Right.
But I think it detracts a lot of people who have maybe a lot of potential and a lot of talent and a lot of capacity to work really hard, but don't have those connections and don't have the means even to, maybe work as a gallery assistant for 10 years before they can start curating, for example. And that's just off the top of my head. I mean, it's just, I personally, part of the reason why I didn't think I was going to continue working in art in my experience was because that was my experience of the art world, and being able to work at the camp has completely changed that for me.
Yeah.
It's been able to make me feel a lot more positive about the potential for the art industry to adapt and embrace new talent in a way that it hasn't before.
Wow.
But yeah, I do think it would be great if there were more galleries or institutions in general that engaged with people the way that we do, with younger people that are interested in working in art and like would love to curate and whatnot. I just don't think with the way the hierarchy within the art world, at least from my point of view, is so like entrenched in the way that we go about things. I feel like at the moment it would be kind of impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would require like a whole shift in all of the operations of how things are done.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would require a lot more accountability, and transparency than the art world is used to engaging with. Quite a lot more.
Yeah. So that's kind of but one of the things I love about the camp is that the camp does its own thing. Like, we really engage in art in such a different way from other galleries and other museums, and that's not to talk down on any other institution at all.
Yeah.
I respect everyone, and I would never, talk bad about
I'll
anyone.
talk
But
down
the
on
way
these
we go
people, but
about things, I think, is really exciting, and it really encourages people that are have a lot of passion, but maybe don't have the like foothold yet to give it their all.
We're a community. We need to act as such.
And
yeah.
then working at the camp too, like, we all get input, and it's become to the point where we talk so often about stuff that we all think the same things at the same time.
Yes.
We've all become one Melp.
One Melp.
One big Melanie Propopolis.
We are one big Melanie Propopolis. It's like she's like the body, and we're all just like
Are we
I
talking
don't know
like?
where I was going with that. I was
She's
gonna
like the
make
queen
a
bee, and we're
SpongeBob
the worker
reference.
bees.
No, I
I
don't
thought
feel
we-
like a worker bee.
No, I'm totally joking. I was saying it in the sense that like the queen bee, like they all have like the same
Oh
thoughts
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. We're all part of the Mel hive.
Well,
Absolutely.
my mind was going to Voltron as like as soon as you said
I
she's the
don't know what
body
that
and
means.
Wolf. You watch Voltron.
I don't know what
I
that
genuinely have no idea who that is.
I'm gonna walk away.
That is the most camp thing to happen, I think, in this whole life, where
We-
Gabe says something and Mario and I are like,
We think as one.
Ma'am?
Wait, what? What did you say?
we think it's one, but no, we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time left. So I'm gonna ask like a few fun questions.
I'm scared.
The first is, if you could describe curation in a meme, which would it be? Like, which meme? Which isn't that as lighthearted as I thought, because now I'm struggling to find an answer.
You're gonna I have to go through the library.
A meme?
Hang on.
I'll go current. The bracket meme.
So
Kind
what
of-
would that look like?
Oh, this doesn't look that bad. Oh God, help me.
Wow.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Mine would be the lady with the confused face and the math.
Oh, just like math going.
Where she's like, and there's like a circle and like a triangle and like
And
These
she's like-
equations just going off.
That would be my meme.
Oh, I don't even.
What about you?
And I'm a meme
Meme queen.
archivist. I'm a mean
Meme machine.
You're a meme
That too.
anthropologist.
I do make all of our gallery memes.
You have
If
to
you're
have a Drag
interested.
Race reference for this.
Oh, I don't know. I guess if I had to describe curation in a meme, and this is very, I guess niche, um, as is my existence. But in season 10, I believe, of Drag Race, the iconic and legendary and incomparable Vanessa Vanjie Mateo was eliminated first, and she like
Oh, God.
walked backwards, going Miss
Vanjie.
Vanjie, and that's my brain when I have to sit down to put an exhibition together. My brain's just like walks
I'm
out
cracking.
backwards.
I'm cracking
So
up at the idea of Maria making a really deep statement about like someone's work and then going Miss Vanjie.
My God.
Vanjie.
I can't help it. That's just the way I am. Um, what are your second lighthearted question? What are your favorite art movements or styles in history? It could be contemporary, it could be classical. Um, how about it?
Oh my God.
Aren't these
When I was
questions
in high
good?
school, it was impressionism.
Oh my God. In high
Yeah, I don't
school?
know. I was very into impressionism, and now I'm very much into post-impressionism more
Ah,
so.
you've evolved.
I, I,
Yeah.
I love the classics, of course, but I think it's postmodernism,
Mm.
realistically.
Mm.
Um, I I think that raw expression, like almost completely devoid of otherworldly ideas, or not otherworldly ideas, otherworldly theories. I think it's just really interesting, where it just becomes like
Yeah.
raw art.
What about you?
Um, I'm like taking a survey of my favorite artists. I think anything that's like super conceptual, I'm always gonna like. Just because I like peeking into people's brains, saying how they like view the world. But I also really like absurdist stuff.
Mm.
Like
I had a
I
feeling
think,
you'd say that.
yeah, guerrilla art. I also really love. I think it has it marries like the hyper conceptual and the absurd really well. Um, okay, and then I don't know. If you could be one of your fellow campers for the day, just for a day, who would it be?
Can I answer Melanie?
Yeah, I think the easy answer is
That is an
Melanie.
easy answer. I want to wake up and be Melanie for a day.
You
Is
have to put
Melanie
on.
a
I
You
want
have,
to
camper or
get
is
my,
she the
I want to
camp?
get my, she's a camp queen. But either way, I'm choosing Melanie. I'm taking creative license with this question. I'm getting my opera glasses to look at the ducks. I'm smoking my cigarettes, and
furry
I'm living life.
slippers, like a whole coat. I think the work.
Uh,
That's yeah.
the opera glasses that we bought her.
Yeah.
She says why. It's so annoying. What's your rebuttal, Mario Rodriguez?
Why? Because I would like to be that fabulous for a day.
Ooh, that's a good
Fabulous.
comeback. A good comeback. I would like to be one of our interns sometimes. No shade to our interns. They
Oh
just
my God, so that I could see what they think of me. Do you get to have
that's
their thoughts and
yes,
stuff?
exactly. 4D chess. No, yeah, I would just like to do a little inventory. Have somebody tell me what to do, but like without giving me too much to do, just for a day. That would be
Just
fun.
for the.
Yeah, I don't really know what goes on in all of the interns' lives, like as a whole, so I feel like it would be just a fun thing. They're also really great. We have a really good group of
We
interns.
do. We do,
So
especially now we have such a great team of interns. Like I can't think of one intern that I'm not really excited about.
Not that we
no,
would say
I'm
your
I'm
name
really excited
anyway.
for them. Right, but
I
no,
mean, of course
genuinely.
not, but it's still the truth.
Gabe, you're
We're
so
gonna
Could you
throw.
mean.
imagine if I was like,
just,
I am
just
gonna
call
come
them
with this intern on this live, on here on this day.
You're
No.
fired. No. Okay,
live
you're
on
fired.
air. Breaking
And then
news.
they fired me on Instagram Live. They're sitting in their Instagram tower. No, yeah, they're all really wonderful. I think also I say that because I remember how excited I was when I started interning. And
Same.
I kind of want to feel that for the first time.
I started interning right in like the month before Scope started.
Oh,
That is an exciting time to be an intern.
that's an
That is
exciting
a fun
time indeed. All the interns love it.
So that was a strange transition to go from uploading to work to I hope you like showing up at Scoop every day.
Yeah, I hope you like sand making its way into your life for a week. Because Scope is on sand. But
Sand
you
is
went to
nature's
Scope, New
glitter.
York.
No, I went to it was Scope here in Miami.
You said sand is nature's glitter?
Yeah. You get it if it's in something, it's gonna be there for months.
I understand now. I understand now. I was very concerned for you.
I still remember wearing nice shoes that day and then regretting it immediately upon walking onto the beach.
Yeah, because you cross the street and you make it onto their little walkway, and their walkway is just ropes on sand.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, I've never not wanted to wear heels so badly. I think
we're done for
live
now.
is over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I think this is a really fun discussion.
Yeah.
I did too. I also just like talking to you guys.
Aww.
And thank you to everyone who listened in as well. We really appreciate all the interest and excitement.
If you're interested in taking a look at our current exhibitions, you can head to the link in our bio. We always have a physical exhibition and a couple of online digital exhibitions going on, as well as OVRs, which are super interactive and quite beaubeautiful. Always.
And work great on a cell phone, so you don't even
We're
need a
great.
computer.
Oh my god.
The plugs.
Yeah.
The plugs everywhere.
I mean, it can't hurt. All right, so I think we're done for the day. Thank you guys again so much, and everyone who's listening in, have an excellent weekend, and we hope you enjoyed this conversation about curating.
And and if you have any questions, you can DM us.
Yes, DM us. Our DMs are always open.
And stay tuned for more stuff from the camp.
Thank you.
That's your outro.
Okay.
That's all you get.
Bye.